Trent Alexander-Arnold back to England already? Chelsea ready to drop 80 million on Endrick. Manchester United closing in on a monster midfielder. Van Dijk staying at Liverpool or packing his bags? All this and much more in today's episode. Slam that like button and let's dive into the maddest transfer rumors right now. Bruno Fernandes is taking his time over any decision on his Manchester United future. There is no pressure built into his contract situation. He is tied down until 2027, with a 12-month extension option on top of that. But the wider reality around the club means the question is still wide open. According to the Mirror, Fernandes intends to wait until the season finishes before deciding what comes next. Even with years left on his deal, the Saudi Pro League angle has not disappeared. United know keeping him will not be simple. When the season ends, attention from elsewhere is likely, and holding onto their captain would demand a serious financial outlay. Last summer already underlined how close this can get, with Fernandes nearing the exit before ultimately rejecting a move to Saudi Arabia. The timing is also linked to leadership. He wants to complete the season and judge who becomes the next permanent manager. Michael Carrick's interim spell has had a positive effect, but that alone does not settle a long-term call. At 31, Fernandes understands what his next contract represents. It is widely viewed as his final major deal, which naturally tilts the balance toward maximizing value. From United's perspective, there is a clear push to stop him leaving, particularly if Champions League football can be put on the table. The money is where it gets complicated. United could be looking at a package around 400k per week, a figure that would make Fernandes the club's highest-paid player and mark a major jump from his current agreement, despite it already running to 2027 with an extension option. Whether they are willing to go that far for a player in his 30s is still unclear. Another option would be a longer proposal aimed at keeping him at Old Trafford for the rest of his career. But that route is far from certain. What is obvious is that Fernandes is paying close attention. The next managerial appointment is expected to matter hugely, not just for his own future, but for how he reads the club's direction. Even if that appointment convinces him, a new deal still isn't guaranteed, given the doubts around how United have been run and the scale of what would be required. Chelsea are treating Endrick as a serious, expensive play, and the figure being mentioned is heavy. He is 19, he is on loan at Lyon, and his opening spell there has changed the feel of his short-term trajectory. Fichajes say Chelsea are considering an €80 million move in the near future. The reasoning is clear. Chelsea have built around young talent, and a teenage striker delivering immediately in a top-5 league fits the model. Endrick is at Lyon because Real Madrid want him playing regular minutes for the rest of the season, after committing heavily to sign him from Palmeiras before he had a long run at the top level. Up to now, the loan has produced exactly what Madrid were aiming for. 4 goals in 3 games, plus an assist, and then a hat-trick against Metz in League One at the weekend. A streak like that turns up the volume in the market, even if the underlying situation hasn't actually shifted. Chelsea's question is whether a massive bid can shake Real Madrid's stance. €80 million is the kind of money that forces a discussion, even for a club that typically doesn't sell young players at rates. There's also a squad planning angle. Chelsea have been linked with Julian Alvarez, but the same report describes that deal as difficult, so they look elsewhere. Endrick also carries the obvious project attraction for Chelsea, including the idea of pairing him with fellow Brazilian Estevão at Stamford Bridge. For Real Madrid, the football case still points toward patience. They signed him with the long term in mind. They've protected his development by sending him out for minutes, and Madrid expect his story to be written in Madrid, not priced for sale right now. So even if €80 million is enough to make them think, it still looks like a very hard deal to land at this stage. Chelsea are not operating in a single lane. They've been linked to several young strikers, with Stade Rennais teenager Mohamed Kader Mate described as their latest target. That's what makes the Endrick link different. It's not just another name. It signals the price bracket Chelsea are prepared to work in, with the same hurdle still in place. Persuading Real Madrid to sell now looks extremely difficult. Barcelona have moved to shut down the whole Fermín López might be available storyline before it ever gets going. Not through a statement, not through a press stance, through a long-term deal that makes the debate pointless. The extension is agreed in principle until 2031. Mundo Deportivo say it was completed on Monday after Barcelona accelerated talks with López's entourage. The terms are markedly improved. The release clause is €500 million. That's Barcelona hanging a hands-off sign on the player. It also clears out the stray links that were floating around, including the ones tying a 22-year-old Barcelona starter to Sunderland, which never really added up. This isn't a player Barcelona are waiting to bring along. He's already a regular in Hansi Flick's 11 after being used mainly as a backup last season. He's played 25 games this season, and his output has surged. 10 goals, 10 assists across all competitions, with 9 of those goal contributions arriving since the start of 2026. In La Liga, the only other player to reach double figures for both goals and assists across all competitions this term is Lamine Yamal. That's the level of return we're talking about. So Barcelona acted to stamp out transfer chatter now, rather than letting it turn into a summer-long circus. And it's not as if interest is new. Chelsea tried late in the 2025 summer window, and Lopez stayed put. He even said his priority has always been Barcelona. The timeline is clean. He made his Barca debut under Javi Hernandez in August 2023, continued progressing under Flick, and now at 22, he's starting to look like the kind of midfielder you build around. Lopez has also spoken about how his academy path wasn't straightforward. So this renewal isn't just payment for a hot run. It's Barcelona securing a player who has fought through stages to earn this status. But in market terms, the signal is obvious. A deal to 2031, better wages, and a €500 million clause is Barcelona making it clear that Fermín Lopez is not going anywhere. Virgil van Dijk turns 35 this season, and that's usually the moment the transfer machine starts hovering, especially when the language shifts from captain and leader to should Liverpool sell while there's still value. Liverpool's stance is clear. For them, this isn't a summer sale debate, it's a contract matter. Football insiders say Liverpool will not consider bids for Van Dijk this summer. They do not plan to sell him, and the intention is to let him run his deal through to the 30th of June 2027. The same update says the key decision makers still view him as central to next season's plans, including continuing as club captain. He signed a new 2-year deal last summer, extending his stay, and Liverpool have consistently stressed the importance of stability at the back. It also aligns with his Liverpool run. He arrived as an elite center back, and for the past 8 years, he has been the reference point in that defense, working with different partners and holding the line. The complication is his level this season. The 2025-26 campaign has been labeled horrendous for him, with his performances falling off sharply. That's what fueled the long-term speculation in the first place. But the takeaway here is direct. No sale, no cash-in, no summer exit. The captain remains and Liverpool see the contract out. Even if Van Dijk stays, it doesn't remove the wider squad building need. Whatever happens with him, Liverpool still have to sign a center back in the summer window. Manchester United's summer planning is already starting to resemble a midfield shopping list, with one name underlined in red. Adam Wharton is the target they are pushing hardest for, and the figures being discussed are anything but subtle. Team Talk report that United have ramped up their efforts and want to win the race for the Crystal Palace midfielder, with a valuation around £100 million. The pitch is clear enough. United view him as a cornerstone for a rebuild in central areas, and informal approaches have already happened to see whether a deal is even doable. The issue is this is not the kind of move you keep quiet. Manchester City, Liverpool, and Newcastle United are all involved, with early discussions already held with Wharton's representatives. Liverpool in particular are moving, with new talks taking place, and Wharton is open to a switch to Merseyside. Other reports suggest Liverpool have a slight edge, with a long-term contract part of their pitch. City are the other obvious factor. They're the club everyone watches in these situations, because if they step in, the whole thing shifts fast. Quick pause here. If you're enjoying the episode, drop a like or a dislike. Either way, it helps. Thanks for the support. It genuinely makes a difference for the channel. Newcastle's thinking is different, but it still tracks. They want more control and power in midfield, and for a club trying to lock itself into the top 4, a deal like this fits the direction. Crystal Palace expect Wharton to leave when the season ends. He has only been there since February 2024, after joining from Blackburn Rovers for £18 million, and he is already seen as one of the league's most promising deep-lying midfielders. The traits being attached to him are the usual ones when a player's value climbs this quickly: composure, tactical intelligence, and the ability to set the tempo. The price is still fluid, because there isn't one number everyone has settled on. Estimates sit between £65 and £80 million, but Palace could try to push closer to a £100 million total package if a real bidding war takes shape. For United, landing Wharton would be a strong signal under the current regime and would address long-standing holes in central midfield. But it also looks like the kind of deal that takes forever. Too many clubs can afford to stay in, and nobody wants to be the first to blink. Champions League football matters as well. Ideally, Wharton wants UCL football, which makes league position a genuine factor rather than background noise. That's why, even with the January window nearing its end, the focus jumps straight to the summer. If this happens, it does more than pick Wharton's next club. It forces other teams to adjust quickly, and not all of them will enjoy their plan B. Raheem Sterling has slipped down the pecking order at Chelsea, and Chelsea expect him to leave this month. He is no longer in the first-team plans. The window is at the stage where anything now has to move quickly. Fabrizio Romano says Chelsea are speaking with Sterling's representatives about a possible exit, and a deal can still happen before Monday's deadline. Now it hinges on whether he can land a move that gets him back to regular football. He is in the later phase of his career and he needs to play more often. With the World Cup on the horizon, the pressure to be starting every week only increases. If he wants to secure his place in the England setup, the second half of the season has to be built on minutes, not cameos. Sitting on the fringes at Chelsea doesn't help that. The next step has to be a return to proving himself at the top level. At his peak, he was one of the Premier League's standout players at both Liverpool and Manchester City. But since leaving City, the trajectory has gone the wrong way, and this is the moment where the choice of move matters. He is still a dynamic attacker who can cover multiple roles, and he brings huge winning experience. For the right side, that profile can still be a very useful addition. Sky Sports say Sterling is training away from the first-team group, and he has 18 months left on a contract worth more than $300K a week. He does not want a loan, he is looking for a permanent exit. Trent Alexander-Arnold's first season at Real Madrid hasn't matched the script you expect from a free transfer headline signing. He arrived last summer from Liverpool and put pen to paper on a 6-year deal at the Bernabeu. That's the kind of contract you hand out for a long-term piece, not a short-term trial. If you're a regular and still not subscribed, I respect the commitment to chaos. But the algorithm isn't your personal assistant, so do me a favor and subscribe. Team Talk link Manchester City with the situation, with City watching what happens next. The deal length isn't the problem, the campaign is. At 27, Alexander-Arnold has made only 5 La Liga starts. A run of muscular and leg injuries has repeatedly disrupted his rhythm and made it hard to build momentum at right back. Madrid expected a faster impact given his pedigree, his distribution, and his experience in big pressure matches. Instead, injuries and tactical tweaks have slowed the process. He is currently behind Dani Carvajal and other defensive options in the pecking order. City have not made an official move, but their recruitment staff are actively evaluating it, especially if his role remains unclear heading into the summer. Pep Guardiola has admired Alexander-Arnold's passing range and the inverted fullback profile for a long time. If anything progresses, it won't come cheap. A 6-year deal leaves Madrid in total control, and his age, international pedigree, and commercial pull point toward a 9-figure fee. Madrid are not looking to sell right now. They see Alexander-Arnold as a long-term project, not someone to move on after one disrupted season.